The Paris Accord is a legally binding international treaty on climate change, signed by 196 parties at the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP21 in Paris, France, on December 12, 2015. The agreement came into effect in November 2016. Project manager for the United Kingdom engineering firm Jacobs, Omkar Seetahal, shares on the impact of this on the global energy sector.
The Paris Agreement is what really has driven a lot of change across energy companies and governments across the world. So from this, the science basically that governs the overall principles in that COP is that in order for us to avoid the worst impacts of climate change and basically preserve a habitable planet, the global temperature increase needs to be limited to about 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels.
Mr. Seetahal points to the physical effects climate change is already having on the world.
Currently, the Earth is at about 1.1 degrees warmer than what it was in the 1800s. So the emissions also continuing to rise as we speak. So what's happening is, based on this trend, it looks like we would definitely be above that 1.5 degrees marker.
He explains the accord is seeking for overall emissions to be reduced by 45% by 2030 and to reach net zero by 2050.
Now, it's important to understand as well that one of the main contributors to greenhouse gas emissions and, of course, basically this entire process is the energy sector actually contributes 75% of greenhouse gas emissions globally. So a lot of focus has been made by these energy companies to mitigate and, of course, follow this regulatory guidance.
Mr. Seetahal highlights a project which his company is currently working on with an energy company.
National Gas, which is one of the main energy companies in the UK, has pioneered this overall project, and the intention is basically to create a hydrogen-based energy supply across the UK. This is definitely at least a decade or more in terms of the overall execution. The project actually is currently in its initial engineering phase.
Jacobs, project manager, shares a few more details about the project.
Determining which of those pipe routes in the overall supply chain can be retrofitted for the distribution of hydrogen. And with this 2050 should be an attainable goal for having hydrogen being used in households and businesses across the UK.
Mr. Seetahal notes a change which is also impacting the worldwide push to sustainable energy solutions.
Technologies to implement renewable energy across the various points of the supply chain has become cheaper over the past decade. So in terms of like solar and wind, you would have seen a lot of reduction in manufacturing costs. So it's easier and cheaper to implement those solutions in the environment.
I am Terry Ann Brown Campbell, and this is